she showed up one day and she smile on her face like always. Hey, Tim, how you doing? Like, oh, hey, Ying, it's great. And I'm like, are you not wearing pants? And she had leggings on. And she looked down and just stark white on her face, just mortified, just turned around, ran back out. Sure enough, she forgot to put pants on with that outfit that she had on. And she had to go home and get her pants.
But two things. One, I don't question my wife's fashion sense. So for anybody who's asking, why didn't you say she didn't have any pants? Honey, did you not have any pants on? I don't question those things. I just go with it. She knows what she's doing. Second of all, she had the most adorable underwear on. Little Frenchie bulldogs. So adorable.
Welcome to Critical Thinking Required, hosted by LBW. This podcast is intended for free thinkers, entrepreneurs, and knowledge seekers. Join us as we discuss relevant financial topics, explore with guests their financial journeys, and engage with experts in industries such as space, media and entertainment, real estate, and many more. Buckle up and enjoy the ride. Welcome to Critical Thinking Required. You're with your hosts, myself, Tim Bickmore, and my two colleagues, Dan Weiss and Nathaniel Leach. And today we have a special podcast for everybody. We're going to talk about the last 6 years because we just had our birthday. Dan, I know you're always the story guy. You always got funny ones. What do you got for us? What kind of stories do you have to tell?
So, I mean, a lot of my kind of bloopers that always bring a smile to my face, especially starting out when there was so much fear, actually revolves around Nathaniel. So there are two particular stories that stick in my mind that was just like, this is great. We can make this work. When we moved into our first office, which by the way, that office was just a piece of shit. We had to find cheap rent. It worked for the time, but
it was cozy.
It served our purpose. It was not that bad. You're being a drama queen.
Let me give a picture here, right? When we moved into that office, we're like, hey, we'd really like to put some crown molding up. And they were like, hey, yeah, we're not going to do that. And within a matter of like months, the ceiling to the wall started separating a little bit. And we're like, yeah, there's like a couple inch separation on our ceiling. And they're like, well, we'll put some crown molding up. How does that sound? Like, that's what the office was like, right? So
hey, we got the
cozy,
crown,
sure, but
we got the crown molding one way or another, right? We just had to wait for it. It came.
Yeah, that's true. And the woman underneath us was definitely living in her office. There was no question about it. She never left that thing. She was, yeah. So, but it was interesting. It was a really great place to start. I'm glad we did it. But when we moved into that office, after driving like 3 hours to get furniture that didn't even fit, by the way, the main desk didn't even fit. So we hauled it from La Crosse, Wisconsin, only to bring it to our parking lot to take sledgehammers and axes to break it apart to throw it away. But they had repaved the pavement that week that we moved in. It was really very, very nice looking. And we painted. And I remember getting a phone call the next day from Tim. You know, he was the contact person. Yeah, so Dan, when you took the garbage out that had paint, there was a hole in my bag. I didn't realize it. And I had a trail of paint through the brand new pavement from our door all the way across it to the dumpster. You want to come say hi, Leor? Come here and say hi quick. Pause for the story. Here's our mascot. They can't see you. Here, come here. Now you can say hi. All right, there you go.
Hi, Leora.
5 years out of 6 in the. Here, I'll get you this, honey. So trail of paint. Now, if that wasn't bad enough, there was more. Nathaniel had taken out the paint canisters themselves and decided to wash it out and dump it in grass. Of course, it spilled over. So he ended up painting like a huge section of this asphalt. So we got this call that we have to now either repave the entire parking lot. We had no money, right? Or figure out something else. So we ended up getting like little asphalt paint because we first tried to pressure wash the parking lot. There's Nathaniel 6 years ago, pressure washing the parking lot to try to get this paint off, which worked a little bit, but not enough. So as a result of it, we had to get like asphalt in a can with a paintbrush. And I think, was this you and I, Tim, who did this?
Yes, we
And
did,
had
Dan.
to-
We did it on a Saturday. I think
We-
Nathaniel was, I think, had to go to like Rochester or
Big or
on
something.
Alaska.
I think so.
Yeah, right. Yeah, sure. And we hand painted a good section of that parking lot. So I'll never forget that, right?
Which
That
by the way, with the paint, it had to be a certain temperature and it was coming in on winter. So we didn't know for sure if it was going to stick or not. But that Saturday happened to be warm enough to lay the new paint on top of that asphalt. I remember that very vividly because I was the one that had to figure out how to call my brother, Tony, contractor. Hey, man, how do I fix a parking lot in a cheap manner? He gave me the idea.
It's too bad we couldn't afford back massages after that. That and then the other story that I really loved in those first early couple of years, we had, must have been like year 2 or so. We were in that first office for 3 years, could have been year 3. And Nathaniel had gone to the dentist that morning and had a shot of Novocaine.
Oh, you mother.
He loved his coffee. And so I was in the office next door to him, and he had just come back from that, and he was working on his stuff, and all of a sudden I hear just an incredible amount of cuss words coming out of his office in conjunction with a thud, blah, 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 blah. Like, what happened? And we came rushing over to the door, and Nathaniel had went to go drink his coffee, yet half of his mouth was numb, and he missed his mouth. And he poured his hot coffee all over his computer and all over his pants, right? So after we made sure he was okay and not scarred, he had to go home. But he wasn't going to go home instead because he had work to do. So instead, Nathaniel just took his pants off. Am I wrong about this?
I couldn't go home for the wet pants. Let's get this straight, all right?
I was trying to play to your work ethic, but that's fine. So he did take his pants off, though. That for sure happened. And Ying went home. I mean, I can't believe Ying has stuck it out this whole time. She was supposed to sign on and help us for a short period of time. And 6 years later, she's somehow managed to still be here. Ying went home to get Nathaniel pants. Meanwhile, we had a meeting with a prospect who was, I think, Army, and he knew that Nathaniel was a Marine and really wanted to meet the Marine. And so he comes in, Daniel's got the whole door closed, and I'm like, all right, I'm going to level with you here. He spilled coffee on himself. He's not wearing pants. And so, and the walls were so thin, so Nathaniel could hear this stuff in this old office. So we used to just like tap on the wall every once in a while, and that was like the sign for the person to come into the conference room because those walls were so thin. And so Nathaniel could hear me talking to him as I'm trying to get Nathaniel out of it. Instead, here he comes. Nathaniel comes down the hall. He's wrapped himself in a pink blanket.
No, I did
It's
not
like a
come
kilt.
down the hall. I opened the door and I said hi. Don't exaggerate.
Daniel, you came into the conference room and sat down and had a conversation with this man who you never met before, wearing a pink blanket as a
Dude,
kilt.
no, I didn't. I did not. I opened the door and I said hi, and then I closed the door. I did not come out.
No,
I don't know where.
not what I remember.
Dude, it's
It's
true.
not what I remember.
I can't. I
don't
do
think I
honestly
could-
don't remember, so I don't know
You were,
who's
I
right.
don't think you were there for
Dan
that.
is wrong.
Tim. I will yield there. Speaking of issues with not wearing pants, I think Tim has a story there. But I mean, the story that it has been a lot of fun. Tim, anything you want to share?
Oh man, funny stories. There's been a lot of funny stories. I mean, the one that you're alluding to happens to be with Ying, which is really good. And Ying is behind all of our marketing and this podcast, and she has been an absolute joy to work with. I just want to say that right off the get-go. And Dan is right. Ying signed on. Yeah, Ying signed on to help us out through the good graces of her heart, and thought it was going to be a little bit. And 6 years later, she's still killing it. So overall, what happened with Ying is she showed up one day and she smile on her face like always. Hey Tim, how you doing? Like, oh hey Ying, it's great. And I'm like, are you not wearing pants? And she had leggings on. And she looked down and just stark white on her face, just mortified, just turned around, ran back out. Sure enough, she forgot to put pants on with that outfit that she had on. And she had to go home and get her pants. Was glad that she said it because she had some clients coming in too. So she was like, oh, thanks, Tim, for letting me know. I'm like, oh, no problem. just curious. But yeah, that was a good story. Yes, Nathaniel.
Just to follow up on that, and full disclosure, she does edit this podcast, so I'm curious to see if she leaves this part in about what I'm about to say next.
Okay.
But two things. One, I don't question my wife's fashion sense. So for anybody who's asking, why didn't you say she didn't have any honey, did you not have any pants on? I don't question those things. I just go with it. She knows what she's doing. Second of all,
yeah,
she had the most adorable underwear on, little Frenchy bulldogs. So adorable. I love those underwear. They're great. She had to throw them away, but so cute.
Yeah, so that was a good one. I mean, there was definitely the story where I thought my computer was not working and I frantically called our IT people, JVS Industries, and I said, hey, there's something wrong with my computer. I'm pissed. And they're like, oh, I don't know what's wrong. Like, is it turned on? Is it plugged? It wasn't plugged in. So that was a big, I was like, oh, damn it. So there's a lot that's gone on in 6 years with a lot of different people, but it's been a good time. It's been a good ride so far. It's been exciting.
You don't have to clean up some of the things Nathaniel says to people as much as we once did. There have been times where there are a couple things where it was like, oh shit, he's not wrong, but I can't believe he said that.
Nathaniel likes to be blunt, and that's what we love about him. So you have to take it in stride. Overall, guys, we're coming up on the end of our podcast, and then we could talk about the last 6 years for 6 years probably. And if people are curious and they want to know more, please ask us. We're always happy to tell our story and explain where we've come from, and we're very transparent in that way. But we should probably wrap it up and do a little bit of a round robin as we usually do. Dan, I'm gonna leave you for last, so you can close it out. My last comment, and then I'll move over to you, Thany, is I just want to thank you two, obviously, for the last 6 years. It's been an absolute pleasure, and it's been ups and downs and lefts and rights. But we've said it multiple times on this podcast that we were very lucky to find each other and very lucky to have similar goals. And I feel very fortunate for that and very grateful for the last 6 years. I've grown a lot personally, business-wise, and I wouldn't have done it with just the two of you, but also with everybody that we've been in contact with. Again, I want to reiterate that I'm a very big believer that business is done not because of one person. Business is done because of everybody that business has been able to have a pleasure to work with. And I don't think sometimes enough people get enough credit. So here is my credit. I think obviously Ying, who we talked about, has started with us for the last 6 years, has been an unbelievable person to be with, team member. Darren Krummenauer, who I mentioned, was just an absolute joy to work with. He was actually our first technical intern, first team member as well, or second team member. And it was great. And we were so glad to see him transition into a different role, into a different industry that he wanted to pursue. Gerard Stegbauer was, again, our second intern and team member. He was a pleasure to work with. He actually extended time with us to go into the summer of this year. He ended up going into the military, so we wish him luck and we thank him for his service. And then lastly, we just recently brought on our new team member, Gary Grosskopf, who has been an absolute joy. And I think that is probably my favorite thing over the 6 years is working with everybody, getting to meet everyone, getting to know their story, and helping us build something. And we wouldn't have been able to do it without them. And I wouldn't have been able to do it without the two of you, and every single one of our clients. So I just wanted to throw that out there. And LBW wouldn't be what it is without everybody who's put their touch on it. And so I'm very grateful for that. So that's my final thought. Thany?
It feels like it's been such a long time, but it also feels very short at the same time, which is very interesting. It's like the first few years of my marriage, actually, ever since I've been married, it's the same thing. It seems like I've been with my wife now for almost 10 years, or over 10 years, officially married over 9 years, but it seems like it's gone by so fast. Be happy with what you got. I'm very happy with what I've got. Very fortunate in having great partners, great partner in my personal life as well. I don't think we would have done anything differently given the second chance. And I think we've done pretty well so far, all things considered. And I echo Tim in thanking everybody who's contributed to our success so far and who's continuing to contribute to success. Dan?
I'm going to continue the thank you train. We'll try not to repeat a lot of the people. I agree with everything that the two of you said as to who is really responsible for the success we've seen so far with our entities. I also want to thank, I mean, in those early days, particularly, but it's been continuous support from Nathaniel's mother. And I want to thank Tim's mom and his stepdad and my mother, because these people really were our primary backbones going into taking on this risk. I want to thank my wife, who allowed me to go down to like 14% of what I was making to be able to do this and give so much support, especially being pregnant, you know, that first year on top of it. I want to thank Tim and thank Becca as well, because Becca, you allow Tim to stay up very late often with me, particularly working on a whole sort of stuff. And I know that that can be a strain. When we embark upon doing this the way that we do this, it is a lifestyle. It is not just a job. It is a huge component, I think, of who we are, of what our purpose is, and very difficult to separate that away. So we couldn't do it with those individuals not having done what they have done. And a huge thank you to specifically the 30 plus people that took a chance on us and left one firm to come help us do what we did. And the vast majority of those people are with us. And then a thank you, of course, to the people that came on early on after that as our second wave of clients. Again, patient zero and our dear friend who will argue that they were before you or not. And then the waves that have come after that. I mean, we pretty much grow and get better based on other people sharing what we've done for them. And that gets shared quite a bit these days. And so just deeply embedded and appreciative of our entire client base, which again started in the 30s and is now 250 plus clients through 18 different states. You have made such a big impact on our lives, and we really respect and cherish that we can return that and make an impact, hopefully, on yours as well. When we broke off to do what we did, we created a mission that wasn't too difficult to create, and that was to transform how people utilize and perceive wealth management and discuss wealth development. And I think we were always confident that we could have that discussion and we could have that purpose. But it's one thing to say that, it's another to actually see that occur, to be able to pioneer things and really start to see changes in the industry. And I confidently can say that we've seen that. And we've seen that as a partnership with each other, with other individuals, other professionals we've met in the industry that have given us greater depth of insight and help, and our clients. And I will tell you that one of the biggest surprises we had was asking for help, and people were more than happy to bring that help. And we won't forget that. And we're always willing to do that too. It's sometimes hard to ask for help, but it's important it is important to do that. It's been a good journey, and it will be. I mean, when my father was not a good man, I don't have a lot of good things to say about him. There are a few pieces of wisdom that he did drop that I think he is right. One of them he always would say was that most people, very few people, really love what they do, and that's a real shame because you spend so much time doing what you do to not love it. I would say that we are very lucky that we can call ourselves in that bucket of people that really love. Believe me, it's challenging, it's exhausting mentally and physically, but it's because of all of you listening and all of you that have been with us in this journey, not listening, that we love what we do. And the most rewarding thing I would say in my career, and I think this perspective is shared with other people on this podcast, is my life is so much more deeply enriched because of all the other shoes we've had a chance to step in, even for a glimpse, and get to walk that life, and just getting to meet people that we would have never been able to have such an intimate relationship with just walking down the street with, has really, I think, bettered all of us as human beings, as as significant others in relationships, me as a father. So really thank you to everybody we mentioned. And I'm sorry if we forgot anybody else. There's so many people that we are thankful for. And we just, I guess on the eve of birthday 6 and Thanksgiving, just thank you for everything you've done for us and for allowing us to do what we do. Have a great night. And until next time, take care of yourselves.
Thank you for taking the time to start your journey of thinking differently and listening to LBW talk about stuff they love. Until next time.